Everybody, welcome. My name is Casey and I'm the Executive Director and Veterinary Nurse for SR3. So excited to have you all here with us today to celebrate Earth Day and the opening of this brand new marine animal hospital. Really can't wait to show you around inside. But before we do that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the site and this beautiful artwork that you see here behind me. We are located in the Des Moines Marina just south of Seattle, and that's really because of an incredible partnership with the city of Des Moines. They heard about SR3, they were excited about our mission, and they really made it possible for us to call this home. So a huge shout out and thank you to the community for welcoming us with open arms and for making this a place that we could set up a hospital to give marine animals a second chance at a wildlife. This artwork that you see here behind me was created by a local artist, and this was a partnership with the Des Moines Art Commission, and it really serves two purposes. One is so that the facility has a little bit of privacy. We are rehabilitating wild animals here, so it's important that they don't interact with people or see people too much, so that when we return them to the ocean, they remain wild. The other purpose is for community education and outreach. We will be placing plaques along the fence line so people know what we're doing here and why this work is so important. And of course, just for the community to enjoy it. Now, everything you're going to see behind this fence screen today is truly only possible because of our incredible community of supporters. So thank you all so much for making this happen. And you made it happen during a year of COVID, which oftentimes this year did not have a lot of hope, but you remain committed and you guys are bringing new hope and new resources to sick and injured marine animals. So thank you so much for that. Let's head inside and take a look around. The first thing you're going to see here is our Marine Wildlife Ambulance. We use this unit to respond to sick and injured marine animals all over the entire Pacific Northwest. We go out when our stranding network partners call us and say an animal needs help on the beach or might need transport. And what's unique about this unit is it allows us to provide emergency medical care in the field, but also during transport. So a veterinarian or a veterinary nurse would be able to be in the back of this unit to give that animal care while we're en route. Sometimes our transports can be quite long. In the past, we've driven all the way down to California with animals that needed care before we had a hospital here able to help them. Let's take a look inside. Looks like maybe someone's been out in the field today.
Hey,
hi, Kim.
How are you?
Good. This is Kim, one of our volunteers.
Hi.
She's a first responder, and it looks like maybe she's been out responding to something today. Kim, tell us what's going on.
Yeah, well, I've been calling this little pup Sammy, and he was found on a busy beach in West Seattle. Our partners at a local stranding network have been monitoring him for quite some time, hoping that his mom would come back to get him. But the beaches have been really busy, and a lot of people have taken an interest in Sammy here. As you know, adult harbor seals are so skittish around people that when mom's out in the water and she's checking on her pup on shore, if she sees a lot of human activity around her pup, she's not going to take the risk to come and get him. So at this point, it seems likely that she's deemed it not safe for her to return to the shore, and as a result, Sammy here has been abandoned. But I'm glad that we're here to help.
Thanks for telling us about what's going on with Sammy today. This is a great reminder that harbor seal pupping season is coming up here in just another month, and that not all seals on the beach need help. So I want to remind you guys that if you do see a seal pup on the beach, to please give them plenty of space. As Kim just mentioned, the adults are very skittish, and we don't want to cause any separation between mom and pup. The pups can't swim as long as mom, and sometimes just need a good rest before they're ready to go again. We'll say that if you want to go ahead and take Sammy to his next steps, and we'll catch catch up with you in just a minute. You guys will notice Kim's wearing one of our really cool SR3 hats. If you are interested in winning that hat or maybe any of the other merchandise we'll show you as we go along our tour, if you guys will make a donation to SR3 of $10 or more, you can make that straight through the Facebook app there. You'll be entered to win that hat, but better yet, you guys will help us be prepared to help these animals in the field if they need care. I wanted to give you a little bit of a closer look here inside the ambulance. You'll notice there's no pools in here or anything. Most of our patients do arrive in kennels, just like you saw Sammy there. That's for their safety and comfort when riding. They don't have to be in water or anything like that. And there's a lot of reasons that patients come into the hospital. That can be anything from the very obvious, such as a boat hit or maybe a dog attack, to something that's less obvious, like maybe toxins or a lack of food out there. So no matter what they're coming in for, just a friendly reminder that the members of the public are not permitted to bring animals in. So if you do find an animal that you're concerned about, the very best thing you can do is to call the Marine Mammal Stranding Network hotline. We'll post that in the chat for you guys to take a look at. If you're in California, Washington, or Oregon, they can help you find the right responder network to come out and check on these animals. Marine mammals can often do behaviors that might look very weird to us, but might actually be natural. So it's in the best interest of that animal and of course for your safety to call the Stranding Network and have them come take a look and see what's going on with that situation. Let's keep moving on here. You'll notice we're going to pass Sammy's next step here, which is on our scale. It's really important that we get a weight on our animals when they're coming into the hospital. That scale can weigh an animal up to 5,000 pounds. Looks like we've been getting some donations in. Thank you guys so much. Cindy and Laura, Jennifer, Patricia, and Monica, we really appreciate your support. You guys will notice we're passing our life support system and our outdoor enclosures that we're going to talk to you about in just a little bit. But right now we're going to move into our climate-controlled enclosure where patients like Sammy would typically start out the rehabilitation process. So let's move on in here and take a look at what's going on. Hi there, Greg.
Hey, Casey, how you doing?
Good.
Good.
Everybody, this is Dr. Greg Frankfurter, our veterinarian that joined our team this past May. He's been instrumental in getting the hospital up and running. I'm going to have him tell you a little bit about what goes on in this space in just a minute. You'll notice in the background is one of our longtime volunteers, Renee. She's getting these totes cleaned and sanitized and ready for patients in just a few weeks. We're still finishing up our federal permitting process, but we've done our visual inspection and we expect our paperwork to be ready in the next couple of weeks so that we're ready for patients. Like Sammy that we just met, so we met Sammy, who's our incoming patient. Why don't you tell us what the next steps in the rehab process would be for Sammy?
Yeah, so one of the things, Seal like Sammy might come into this building here. So this is designed primarily for holding young animals, so young harbor seals, potentially could be used for sea otters or really small fur seal pups. Each of these totes here can hold usually one animal, potentially up to two. We have a grating in the bottom to protect the animals. Additionally, these can be filled with water, so the animals can be kept in here dry or kept in here with either warm water or cool water. We have heating lamps that can be lowered over each of these or heating pads that can be added. Additionally, we can warm this entire structure or cool it down as needed. But this is overall going to protect animals from the environment while they learn to eat, while they get healthy enough to be moved out to one of our larger pools. So initially they'll be in here in the case of a seal like Sammy. He may first be tube fed with milk formula, potentially moving up to a fish slurry. Once he's eating whole fish and he's overall doing well, at that point he'd be moved out to our primary pools. We may also keep sea turtles in these if we get cold sea turtles that do strand on the coast along here. These bins are really good for that, and again we can control their temperature a little bit better.
Awesome, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
Renee, you have been a long-time volunteer of SR3, almost since day one actually. We really appreciate everything you're doing and have done for us. And I just wanted to know, you've watched SR3 grow and now we're opening up this hospital. Tell us kind of what you think it means for you to have this hospital and also for the animals.
Well, wow. What it means for me as a longtime volunteer is really hard to put into words at this time. I think we need a whole nother Facebook Live for that. But I'm just beyond excited to be able to be part of this amazing facility that has been a long time coming. Lots of hard work has been put in by many people, but most of all you, Casey. And for the animals, I believe that, of course, as we have an increasing human population, there's potential for more interactions with these animals out in the wild, with more people wanting to be outside and more people maybe possibly encountering these animals on beaches. It's important to have a place for them to be able to go if needed, and until now they really haven't had a place such as that. And so from an individual standpoint for these animals, it means that they no longer have to undergo the stress of a long drive down to a facility in California. They now have one right here locally, and we can get a closer look at what may be happening in our own backyard for these animals and hopefully help them in a broader scale as well as individually.
Awesome. Well, thanks. We really appreciate that. Of course, we appreciate all of your hard work. And it looks like maybe we've had some other donors, Dennis, Joanne, and Suzanne. Thank you so much for supporting us. Yeah, you noticed that Renee and I are both wearing these really cool SR3 shirts. So if you're interested in winning one of the shirts, again, make a donation of $10 or more. While yes, you can win a shirt, the best part about it is that you're actually going to be helping animals recover and gain weight and get big and strong. You might even send an animal like Sammy to fish school before he can go out to the outdoor enclosures, which is where we're headed next. Rachel, why don't you tell us if we're getting any questions on our way?
Yeah, we did just get a question, Casey. So Debbie was wondering, she signed up to volunteer, and she's wondering if there's any volunteer positions opening up yet.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Debbie. We really appreciate you signing up to volunteer. With COVID, everything's been a little bit different, but we are really excited to have volunteers start working with us soon. We'll have a formal training program so that if you have never done something like this before, we can walk you through the process and gain new skills. And if you already have skills, that's wonderful. We're excited to work with you too. So you're signed up. You will be getting notices through your email about opportunities. Other questions?
Yeah, well, not yet, but Robin was saying that she hopes there would be a Q&A. So Robin, if you have any questions, please feel free to just put them in the chat. We'll see them and we'll address them.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look into our large outdoor enclosures out here. Right, so Sammy would be moving out here, would have doubled in weight, probably doubled in size. And this is an area where he would start learning to compete with other harbor seals for food, gain muscle mass, and again, gain even more weight before being ready to return to the ocean. You'll notice this orange pad behind me here. This is a heating pad. So we do still provide some heating and shade out here as the animals need it for their recovery. Natasha, thank you so much for your donation. We really appreciate that. And you might be looking at this space and saying, wow, this looks like a really big space. Couldn't you hold a lot of animals out here? And really the facility was designed so that we could help everything from a small harbor seal pup all the way up to a very large sea lion, sea turtles, sea otters, and even a small dolphin or porpoise. This could potentially hold a lot of animals in the event of a crisis, maybe like an oil spill. But in general, it will depend on what kind of animals are here as to how many animals we can help. Our goal was always to be able to provide care for animals that have historically not had a lot of options. So those bigger animals like sea lions, elephant seals, fur seals. So every day is new around a rehabilitation facility. You never know what's going to come into the door. So we're really trying to be ready for any animal that might need help. Now, a lot of the species we see do need salt water. So we make our own salt water here on site. So these pools can be saltwater or freshwater, just like the small totes that we were just at. You'll notice we have another smaller pool over here. And water quality is critical to the recovery of these animals. So we're going to take a look at our filtration system. While this might not look very exciting, and again, it is critical to patient recovery. We filter all of our own water here. We have glass media filtration, ozone, and UV to make sure that water stays nice and clean. We also have heaters. You'll notice here we're able to heat or cool the water. Heating would be important for patients like a sea turtle or maybe a very emaciated fur seal or even oiled sea otter, so that they can focus all of their energy on recovery and getting better versus trying to stay warm. So we're gonna head on into the busiest place in the entire facility. If you didn't guess, that's the kitchen. But on our way, Rachel, why don't you tell me if we have any questions?
Yeah, we do. So somebody was wondering
everything. Our volunteers are critical to everything that we do here. So anything from animal care to food prep, cleaning the totes as you saw Renee doing, helping us respond on the beach as you saw Kim doing. Truly, anything that we do, volunteers are involved in as well. And if you, again, as I mentioned, if you don't have any particular experience in this, that's okay. We're happy to train.
Denise is wondering whether we've had any patients yet.
We have not yet. As I mentioned, we're still undergoing our federal permitting process. So once we have that permit fully taken care of in the next couple of weeks, we'll be open for patients and ready. We have had some patients we've stabilized short term before transports.
Others were wondering how we would get a large animal up into the pool.
Yes, I did not show you that, but there is a set of gates that does not have stairs by it. And we would work with the marina that we're in here. They have a forklift and they would help us get that animal forklifted in. Typically they're in a very large custom built cage that they come in, and then we're able to lift that into the pool area. Looks like a couple more people have made donations. Sabrina and Mary, thank you so much. We really appreciate your support. Let's take a look inside. Sounds like somebody's busy in here. Hi, Kat.
Hi, Casey.
Kat's one of our volunteers, and she is getting these dishes cleaned and sanitized and ready for patients in the next couple of weeks. Thanks so much, Kat. We appreciate that. You're welcome. As I mentioned, these patients can eat a lot, sometimes 4 to 5 times a day, and that means a lot of dishes. So that means a lot of helping hands are needed, also a lot of food prep. So this is an area where volunteers spend a fair amount of time. Now the animals, like Sammy, often will start off on a formula because Sammy would still be dependent on mom. It's a super high fat formula because they're only with their moms for 4 weeks. They gain a lot of weight in that short time frame. Very high fat formula, and then would move on to a fish smoothie, which we make with this blender here. Probably about as delicious as it sounds. And then would go to what we call fish school, where you would learn to eat whole fish and be able to move out to those large pools that we just came from. Most of everything that's fed here is herring. It does have to be restaurant quality, high grade fish, just like they would be catching and eating in the ocean. And these patients might eat less than a pound a day when they first come in. They may leave eating 2 to 3 pounds a day. Larger patients could eat over 20 pounds a day. Just depends on the size of the animal. Some patients, like sea otters and sea turtles, might need a more varied diet of clam or crab, squid. So sometimes we have to get some different items in for the kitchen. Alena, thank you so much for your donation. We really appreciate that. The fish usually cost about $1 to $2 per pound. So much like the donations you guys have been making, you can help us feed these animals so that they recover fully. Any donation over $10 will still get you entered to win some of our merchandise prizes that you've seen. We have a couple more that we're going to show you as well. All right, well, Kat, thank you so much for keeping everything so clean and sparkling in here.
Oh, my pleasure.
I know you have a particular passion for making sure the Salish Sea is healthy and a passion for these animals. And I was just wondering what does it mean to you to have a resource like this in the region?
Well, if there's one thing that you and your team have taught me is that these animals live at the top of the food chain, and that everything in the food web that they eat gets accumulated inside their bodies. And so by understanding their health, you guys are able to do a good job understanding the health of the whole ecosystem. And it's not just their ecosystem, it's our ecosystem. We live here too. So the work that you're doing benefits all of us.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing your thoughts on that. And again, thank you for all the time that you're giving to SR3.
My pleasure.
Let's keep moving. Let Kat get back to her dishes. This area that we're moving into is just our volunteer and break area. We also have a couple administrative offices, but I wanted to take a stop here so we can announce the winners of our coloring contest. Now, you adults have been making donations and you're going to be entered to win some of our great merchandise prizes, but the kids had a chance to do that too through this coloring contest. And we had some awesome entries, some great budding artists here. It was really fun to see everything. Clearly, kids are passionate about protecting our marine wildlife. So the prize is one of our adorable adoption kits. Also something that will be one of our prizes for anybody making a donation as well. So please feel free to put in for that if that's something you're interested in. Let's take a look at who our winners are. All right, so in the category of age 3 to 5, this is Elizabeth Chung, her beautiful sea lion coloring here. Well done, Elizabeth. Our next category was a sea turtle for age 6 to 9, and this is Erin Dovak's gorgeous artwork. We're so impressed. And then finally, our category of age 10 to 12. This is Emily Alexander, a much more complicated one, as you can see. Fabulous job. Again, this was so fun to see. Looks like we've had some more donations. Robin, Molly, Sally, and Susan, thank you guys so much for supporting SR3, making sure that we're going to have what we need to be able to care for these animals this summer. All right, let's move on to take a look at our last stop on this Insider's tour. That is our surgery and treatment suite. You'll notice that inside you can see Dr. Frankfurter, who's obviously been busy. We did put this window in so that volunteers, students could be out here and have an educational opportunity to watch what's going on inside. But let's take a step inside and see what he's been up to. Doctor, you have been busy.
Oh, you know, trying to keep busy.
Tell us a little bit about what goes on in the surgery and treatment room.
Yeah, so this is our general surgical and treatment area. We might have patients like Sammy or some of our other patients might come in here. We'll do intake exams here, release exams, as well as general surgeries, whatever a patient might need. We have a full digital x-ray system, we have ultrasound, and we have some basic lab equipment here as well. So we can bring patients in and do pretty much most of the diagnostics that we would need to do right here in-house. This may happen with the majority of patients coming in before they go out to a treatment area or any time in the treatment process when needed.
Awesome, thanks for telling us about that. All right, one more merchandise item to show you guys. One of our eco-friendly tote bags. Again, this is something that you can win as a prize, making a donation of $10 or more. But better yet, what that donation does is help patients that might need a surgical procedure, or maybe they need medications or fluids. Really helps provide for their medical care. Before we wrap it up, I do want to give some time for questions. Rachel, are we getting some more questions?
Yeah, so kind of related to when we were in the kitchen, people were wondering, where do we get our seafood and how do we know what to feed our patients?
Yeah, so our seafood, we process an order every year. Our order this year came from Alaska. It is herring, so that's what will be in. Now, if we have a sea otter or a sea turtle, we'll probably get something more local, and we do partner with other aquariums and zoos when we're in need of that kind of seafood. As far as what we do, how we know what to feed our patients, you want to talk to that, Red?
Yeah, so a lot of it is really based on what these patients eat in the wild. So it's based on what we know from researchers as well as other people that are out watching these animals. So a lot of what we feed will usually mimic or be exactly what these animals we get in the wild. The quality of food we feed is right up there with human grade, so it's the same stuff that people would eat, and we get it from a lot of the same sources that restaurants get human food from.
Awesome. Other questions?
Yeah, somebody was wondering what animals can we help besides seals and otters?
Yeah, we can also help sea turtles and small dolphins or porpoise, several species of seal, of course, and I think I covered it all, right?
Fur seals, sea
Fur
lions,
seals?
but yeah, it's all in the small pinnipeds, so the seals and sea lions, the small cetaceans, so harbor porpoises, other porpoises and dolphins, as Casey mentioned, and then sea turtles. So yeah.
And even elephant seals.
And then for people who don't win one of our SR3 prizes by donating, they're wondering whether they can go online and buy those somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a gift shop, so feel free to check that out with the adoption kits, the shirts, hats, all that kind of stuff is in there. And again, all of it really helps give support to our patients. Looks like some more people made a donation. Carrie, Jen, Susan, and Sam, thank you so much. You guys, we really appreciate every single donation. It makes a difference for our ability to be able to help these animals. So thank you. We appreciate that. No more questions at this time?
Nope, that's it.
All right, you guys. Well, I hope you have enjoyed your behind-the-scenes tour. Obviously, we didn't have any patients in right now, but we look forward to being able to show you behind the scenes when we are gathering our patient, or when patients start coming in. We really appreciate everybody joining us today. We hope this was a fun look behind the scenes. Thank you, Melissa, for your donation. You guys can continue to donate if you'd like. We have directly through our website, of course, and you can also do that through Facebook. Thanks, everybody, and have a great night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.